everybody, how are you? I am here today to tell you about a really special wine from Argentina that I just picked up, actually. Hey, that's a clearer, better picture of it on the 6-pack. It's a Malbec, Finca Adalgisa. It's from Luan de Cuyo, and it's from a particular little tiny sub-region. Let me see here. I've got this. I just conveniently happen to have this huge map of wine regions of South America hanging out there. No, obviously that's staged. So Chile over here, Argentina, Andes Mountains. Right here is Mendoza, and then over here there's a zoom in. So Mendoza, the city, is right here, and just like right next to it, basically, like, I mean, practically in the city, in the suburbs, is Chacras de Coria, right there. It's like a tiny, I can't with the bottle, it's a tiny, tiny little red square there. So tiny region. And it's unusual because this is, I mean, at this point, I think a lot of people want to live there. It's sort of a, you know, it's not just out in the wine, what rest of the wine region of Mendoza and stuff, but this is an unusual Malbec. It comes from a 0.85, so 85 hundredths of a hectare. So, like, I don't know what that is, a little bit more than 1.5 acres of vineyard that was planted by the Ferlotti family back in 1916. So a lot of these vines are over 100 years old now. So it's been in their family for 3 generations. This is Gabriella Ferlotti now, who's the current owner of this. And up until, actually, I don't know when it was that they started making wine themselves. It was Gabriella that started making wine. Previously, the grapes had all been sold off to other people, but she talked this legendary winemaker in Argentina, Carmelo Patti, who is Sicilian originally, but has been in Argentina for a long time making wine, and he's a real, like, old school traditionalist winemaker. You know, using natural fermentations and, like, not a lot of oak and stuff like that. Not because that's, like, the hip new thing, but because that's, you know, like, what he's just always done. His perspective is much more sort of old world, and he's one of the very few winemakers in Argentina who does a lot of bottle aging. So this is the current release, 2012. So this is, you know, this has been held back, fermentation in cement, I think, and then sometime in used, like, 2nd, 3rd, 4th run oak barrels, then bottled and aged in the bottle until he feels like it's ready for release. So 2012, current vintage. And so Gabriella talked him into, you know, coming and making wine here, which was sort of a big coup because, like, he's really famous. He's really beloved. People, you know, he's very in demand, and he's in his 70s, so he doesn't take on a lot of projects or anything now. But I think, from what I understand, he was really sort of enamored of this vineyard of, you know, it's this little tiny, it's a clos. It's actually a walled vineyard, you know, with super old vines, which is sort of unusual in Argentina, and that it had a real interesting, like, unique character of its own. So that's sort of why he got involved in this and decided to make wine for them. The winery itself is like 20 by 30 feet, tiny little building. They make about 500 cases per year, something like that. It's a very, very small production, and this is the only wine that they make. Just this one Malbec. And Carmelo has been making wine for, you know, I don't know how long, like 40 years now, something like that. So he really predates the whole Malbec boom in, like, the 90s and 2000s in Argentina. So he's making this wine in a much more like I said, old school traditional, like European Bordelaise sort of style, like more balance, more tannic structure, acidity. You can see here it's 13.5% alcohol, and with the amount of age that it has, with the like the time in the bottle and the time in used barrels and stuff, it's a really layered, complex, interesting wine. Like all of those secondary and like tertiary aromas and flavors come out in it now. Like there's a lot of like dried fruit, nuts, like spices. I remember this having like a really interesting sort of like aromatic spice quality in there in the mid palate. The tannins are just super integrated and like relaxed, but they're like holding everything together. It's a fantastic wine. And it's super rare. And I don't know if you can see this behind me, but I've got this little stack of 6-packs. This is all I've got. I forget how many actually came into the state of Maine, but it's, what have I got here right now? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got the equivalent of 4 cases. I think I got like 11, 10 cases total, something like that of this. And that's it. It's gone now. So I don't know when I'll get when I'll get 2013. But anyway, super interesting, unique wine that is like a real sort of, I don't know, expression of Argentina and Mendoza, and an interesting sort of piece of like wine culture down there and figuring out like what Argentina is, what it can do, the possibility, the potential of this place. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. If you have a chance to grab one of these, it's fantastic.